This video describes the features of the Human Resources homepage, which I will draw onto the screen here. Starting on the top bar, we have the attendance, which is generally speaking the teacher attendance, which can be taken either by the front desk or the Human Resources person, sometimes the same, one and the same. And we can produce the teacher weekly and the one teacher attendance records. The blank application produces a blank application form for a potential hire. Contracts is important. This is the area where you are dealing with building and maintaining contracts. This is the home screen listing all the contracts by type, draft, final, or not issued. For example, in some of the, almost all of the local staff often don't get a contract issued because it's they are dealing under the local contract, but we still want to enter their salary under our Schedule 1 and so on, or we can't do their payroll. You see here it's got the start date and the end date and the salary local, totals them by type. You also then have this Schedule 1, which is important. I will flip over to it as an example. Schedule 1 outlines in detail all of the contract information or contract agreed upon factors. For example, the contract start date, the end date, the contract term, the type of staff, the salary, and down in here we have the benefit package. This is all important for every staff to have this filled out and maintained, and we can use the PDF to execute and send a PDF as required. Again, here we have the ability to open a PDF for the contract or open a PDF, or we can start a new contract, meaning that normally when you use the plus button at the top, it's the first contract for a staff, so their name will not be on this list. You then start with a new contract. But if you have someone that has a list or has a contract and it's a second one, for example, if they're re-signing for a second year, we use the plus button to then take it and identify that as the second of two contracts. All right. This also compiles the salaries into a table for summary and puts the benefits, and you notice that there's 4 pages of benefits because there's so much information. This lets you see all of the staff and their benefits by their different types and so on. Okay. Now, to forming a contract, we will do that in the special video. Now, we have candidates here and we have staff over here because they're alphabetically arranged. A candidate is a potential hire, someone you're going to hire. Now, you tend to get a lot of resumes. Many of them you just review and set on aside on a pile that won't be dealt with. But when you get someone that you're interested in hire, and maybe you want to prepare a contract or a draft contract or an offer contract, we then put them in the candidates list and enter them. Now, if you're starting from scratch and you already have staff hired, or someone's being directly hired immediately, we then use the staff list. You'll see it in the, we may not have any contacts. Oh no, we do have some candidates here. You'll see it's got a different colored heading and so on, and you'll notice that their status is they're identified as an active candidate. So as a staff they're still a candidate, but as a candidate they're actually active. And this lets you open their file up, which I won't do at this point in time, but we will do later. And this lets you then execute the hire, plus then lets you create a new one. And in the staff contract, same thing, they're sorted. This is a familiar screen you'll get very used to, by their department and then their position, and department and name. So we have got the people by name, by last name, first name, so on. This is access to their HR file. This is their attendance file. This is the hire file, which is the same as the candidate's file, basically. And then the documents. This tells you that they have a schoolware account. This person does not. Often, a number of the staff do not need a schoolware account because they're not accessing any computer information. Okay. Down in this row, we have the human resources forms. Evaluations are for teachers only, because they're entitled to an annual evaluation by a supervisor and themselves, and that is a standard practice. And we have used a standard from the United States. Professor Daniels' standard has been incorporated into this, and it's recognized around the world as a normal situation. So teachers often will need this in order to get another job. And the probation is when you are doing an assessment for the staffer at the end of their probation. Term review is for all staff. We have 4 terms to a year or 3 terms, whatever it is, and you use this tool to do a review on the staff. An application form is so that you can fill it and send someone an application form. Departures are for the preparation of a departure report when an employee is leaving, whether they're leaving at the end of a normal term, whether they're leaving because they're sick or they have a reason for leave, or whether they're leaving because they quit. We still have to do a departure report which details why they're leaving and does the financial analysis to help assess what their final paycheck or payment to the school will be. And record of employment is for the long-term. So when people leave the company and they sometimes read back and ask for a record of employment, this is what this does. And termination is when somebody, termination is when the school terminates a staff. You cannot just arbitrarily terminate a staff. We need to prepare a report which is submitted to the owner to get the owner's blessing in order to terminate this staff. Now, on this brown button bar is more of the personal information. This is for expenses, so you can fill out an expense form. This is to do the ID docs for staff because you either need the information or you need to produce it. This is to produce a purchase order for something you need to acquire. This is the living in editor. Human resources should really be involved with that in many ways, and the same with the policies. This is the editor, not the viewers. So you see down here we have the living in and the policies. These are the view functions. These are the editing. And the schoolware accounts is access to the schoolware accounts so that you can update if someone forgot their account or their passwords or they need it updated or something like that. And then the work order, so you can, if necessary, create a work order to have something repaired. And of course you get the same calendar. That's it.